Hi everyone, it's Carrie, aka Nerdy Girl Crates, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to do something I haven't done in a while. If you've been following my channel, you know once in a while I'll do something where I kind of express my thoughts on the mainstream industry, whether it be comics, movies, television. And originally for Wednesday I was going to do my normal Wednesday rewind, but over the weekend, I was watching DC Fandom, and one of my followers had sent me an image for some upcoming comics, and it kind of reminded me of something that's been bothering me for a while. And I really wanted to talk about this topic. Now, I know there's going to be some people out there who might not agree with me, and you might think, is this really where you're going with this? But that's fine. It's okay to disagree. But I really wanted to talk about this. Now, over the years, we've heard many so-called female creators in the comic industry going on and complaining about the portrayal of female characters, whether it be about how their costumes are designed or how little there is to their costumes, or how they're sexually objectified in certain situations, how they're portrayed more as like femme fatales, or they're always the damsel in distress or the victim. You've probably heard it over the years. I think one of the most famous examples would be the refrigerator scene where Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, comes home and finds his girlfriend's body stuffed into the refrigerator. And that became like a really big deal for one of these creators. I'm not going to name them. You know who I'm talking about. And as I'm thinking about this, that these people go on about the portrayal of female characters, now I'm not here to debunk their argument about that specifically, or to support them on that argument either. No, that's not what I really want to go into in this video. I want to talk about the hypocrisy of their complaints. I grew up on DC and Marvel comics, and I have many characters in the universe that I'm big fans of. Amongst them is the Bat family, specifically Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson, the original Boy Wonder, the original Robin, the leader of the Teen Titans. And Dick Grayson has kind of forged his own path over the years as he's gotten into adulthood. You know, he doesn't exactly follow the same methods as Bruce. He doesn't have a problem with relying on a team to help him get things done. Where Bruce, despite having all these Robins and Catwomen and Oracles and Batgirls, at times he kind of pushes them away. Dick Grayson has also been very much more, how can I say this, compassionate and very sympathetic to people. He's also very positive in his portrayal. And of course, one of the most famous things about Dick Grayson is he's also very good looking. He's, as an adult, has been drawn to be very attractive. He's had many love interests, the two most famous being Starfire and Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, aka Oracle. Now, I mean, I don't have a problem with the way he looks. It's nice to look at an attractive character. Anybody can say that. It doesn't matter your gender or what you like. It's nice looking at an attractive character. My problem begins way back when Devin Grayson had taken over the Nightwing books. There was a storyline where Dick Grayson had an issue with the villain Blockbuster. And during all this, he also took under his wing another hero. I believe her name was Tarantula. If I'm not correct, you can tell me down below. And during this storyline, Dick Grayson suddenly kills Blockbuster. I don't remember the whole details. I kind of like blocked out this story as much as I could. And it messed with him because, you know, he broke a code that Batman always taught him to never kill. And it really took like broke him mentally. And like almost immediately after this happens, he is like not in good mental state. And Tarantula, who's a female, on the top of a rooftop while he is having this mental breakdown, decides to have sex with him. And it's obvious he is not in the mood for this. He is too busy focusing on the trauma of what just happened. And she just goes ahead and takes advantage of him. And at first I was shocked, but I thought, okay, maybe they're going to do a storyline with this, and maybe they're going to talk about, like how sometimes there are male victims of rape. I don't know. I was willing to give it the benefit of a doubt and see where they were going to go with it. And as far as I remember, they didn't really ever just go there. And I knew the writer was trying to brush it off that it wasn't like a rape scene, but even everybody who read this knew it was. And it was the first thing I noticed that was happening to Nightwing that started to bother me. Over time, while reading the Nightwing books, there was other scenes that kind of got to me. There'd be a scene where he was in the shower at Barbara Gordon's house washing, and then suddenly Black Canary walks in on him, and he quickly grabs a towel and covers his face so she doesn't recognize him. And she kind of lingers there, standing, smirking and smiling, and apologizes, but you kind of tell that she was like not feeling bad about walking in on this, because once again, Dick Grayson's a good looking guy. But it was just kind of like, okay, that's kind of creepy. If this was the other way around, there would be hell to pay. There would be people complaining left and right. And she comes out and brags about it to Barbara, and Barbara's kind of like, are you serious? Like, you didn't. And she just smirks and laughs, and he's embarrassed. He comes out in his Nightwing costume and just takes off. There were kind of similar stuff like that where it seemed like slowly they just started to focus more on his physical attributes and less on, like, this is going to sound cliche, his personality. Later, when he joins Spiral, he is undercover as a teacher in this all-girls school academy. And the girls just go on about his looks. They go on about how hot he is, and he's undercover, and part of his cover is he's gay, so they don't have to worry about these girls trying anything on him. Well, that doesn't matter, because there's a scene where they're all planning to do a, as they call it, Manny raid in his room, and they've all been taking pictures of him. Now, yes, I know these girls were being trained to be like spies and something like that. It was just kind of weird. Then, also throughout this whole run of Spiral, the butt thing has started happening more and more often. Now, what am I talking about? There was a scene where he's using this special device to mask his face, and Batgirl sees him climbing into, I think it was a helicopter, and she goes, I recognize that butt. Later on, he gets compliments on his butt from other characters, and there's a lot of butt shots. There's even to this day a lot of butt shots. I mean, you know how they always complain about how some of the girls pose, like where they're looking over their shoulder and you just get a butt view? They do that a lot with Dick Grayson in the comics. It's, especially in covers. But, yeah, even got to the point where Batman saw him and said, you can use a mask, that device to mask your face, but I know that butt anywhere. And it's like, okay, it may be funny the first time, but after a while, that's all we're talking about. Then there was that Batman and Harley Quinn movie, where literally there's a point where Harley Quinn captures Nightwing and has him handcuffed to her bed. Now, this is Nightwing. The first thing I'm thinking is this man can get out of those handcuffs. I'm sure Bruce went over this with him 100 times. Well, she decides to mount him. Now, it could be interpreted that maybe he was not against it. I don't know. It was just weird to put in there. I just felt like there was no reason for that, other to once again see Dick Grayson getting taken advantage of. Then again, there was all these things about how he's hot, how he's this. I know you're thinking, Carrie, really? But it's become more and more apparent. Like, the butt is obviously accentuated in his costume. There's even a line in a recent comic where Barbara Gordon makes fun of the fact he has one of the tightest costumes in the group. And there's also a point where he's with this woman. I forgot who the character was, because with the mainstream comics, I've been losing more and more interest. And he's walking, and she decides to slap him on the ass. And he tells her straight up, "You know you're invading my private space." And she responds, "I was hoping you would notice." If this was a guy doing it to a girl in the comic, there would be like a whole, like, oh my god, Twitter would go nuts, okay? Twitter would be going insane. Then they had him in a strip club as undercover as a stripper, trying to make money for something. And I'm thinking, aren't you Bruce Wayne's ward? And I know back in another comic, Bruce had invested his money, and one day he went in to check the bank and found out he was a millionaire. I know recently he even talked about giving up the money because it wasn't right of him to have all that money. Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But here he is. He's not undercover to get... I don't think he was undercover to get info. He's undercover to get money to help people out with, which he had. He had. But okay, now we're stripping in a club with women sticking money in your freaking underwear. Do you get where I'm going with this? Do you? And I'm not saying Nightwing is the only male character that this is happening to. This is the one I've noticed it the most with. I'm sure there's other characters. But I'm just sitting here going, the hypocrisy of this is, a lot of these stories are written by the same people complaining about the way females are portrayed in comics. Yes. The same people complaining about how females are. It's kind of like, okay, it's okay to objectify the guy, but not okay to objectify the woman. And I'm not saying you should objectify women, okay? I just want to make that clear. I'm saying that if you're going to fight for this one, you should also be fighting for that one. If you're going to get mad about Kyle Rayner's girlfriend's dead body being stuffed in a refrigerator after being killed by a villain, then you should get upset about the time Carol Danvers, back when she was still Miss Marvel, had to watch a reenactment of her boyfriend being brutally beaten to death by Mystique, who is disguised as her. I mean, is that any less horrifying than finding your girlfriend in the refrigerator? This is what I'm talking about. It's this kind of stuff that kind of irks me. I hear them going on and on and on and on about this, but then they ignore the other half of comic book history or what else is going on in comics because it doesn't, coincide with what they're trying to push. Now, I'm not saying Nightwing hasn't had good stories. I'll be honest with you. I've really checked out a lot in DC and Marvel because I've just been highly disappointed. I would say with Nightwing, I really started to stop collecting it on a regular basis during that whole Spiral thing. And then when they started with the whole, he's now Richard instead of Dick because, you don't want Dick jokes. Oh, God. I mean, again, yes, Dick Grayson is a good-looking character. So is a lot of the characters in comics. I mean, I don't know why people get offended by that. And yes, some characters are drawn a little over-sexualized, but you know what? That's what fans like. Who am I to say? If you're gonna do this to Dick Grayson, then you can't bitch about Starfire. Okay? I mean, this is what kills me with what's going on right now in mainstream media. It's okay to degrade the male because, you're getting back for some invisible slight that you've made up because, women are always victims. I call bullshit, okay? You're not always victims. Men can be victims too. Not all men are bad. Not all women are good. It's just facts, okay? You can't be going on about one thing and ignore it happening over here. This is where I get mad. This is where I really, really get mad because I see these people going on and on about this shit. And then you turn around and you see them doing these stories with a character like Nightwing and you're just kind of like, hello, is anybody home? Because obviously you do not really stand by your principles. Your principles are biased. You're not checking it across the board. You're just being hypocritical. Now, I don't know how you feel about what I'm saying. You might not even see an issue with the way Nightwing's portrayed, and you might think I'm overblowing this, but at the end of the day, it's annoying to me to constantly see these people throwing out examples from comics because they Googled it, and then turn around and do the same thing to some other character because it's not female. I want just a damn good Nightwing story. I don't mind having some romance in there. Heck, some, him getting it on with one of his famous girlfriends. I don't care about that. It's when you start, just treating him as nothing but a sexual object. Like, look at how good looking he is. Look at how great his ass is. Look at this. Look at that. Okay, I don't care. I want to see Nightwing fighting villains, and I want to see Nightwing being a hero. Okay? I don't want you guys to fulfill some sick fantasy you have because you have deeply rooted issues and you're taking it out on this particular character. Yeah, I had a rant about this, and I know some of you are just going to be like, what was that? But I did. I mean, and you can fact check me. I'm fine with that. If there's something I'm saying that's wrong, go ahead, comment down below, let me know. If you have evidence to contrary, please let me know. I just, I'm sick of this acting like it's only happening one place, but it's not happening another. This whole, it only happens to these people, but it never happens to them. It's annoying, and I just had to get it out. So, tell me what you think. Go ahead and comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when my next video is up. And next week, Wednesday Rewind will come back. I just needed to take a break from it this week and get this out of my system. Alright, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.